What's going on in Snell now? What's the Annex? Why is it an issue? Snell Hall stands out with its bright blue paneled exterior directly across from the Valley Library in the heart of campus, home to a hodgepodge of campus organizations. Students are aware that something is happening to the building, but don't necessarily know what.
I've heard about them taking down Snell, but I didn't hear about them replacing it in the parking lot over there.
I didn't know that.
I heard about it. It was like in the barometer or something.
Currently, Snell Hall is home to student organizations such as the Barometer, ASOSU, Student Involvement, KBVR-FM and TV, Prism Magazine, and The Beaver. Snell also houses the English Language Institute, ELI, and Counseling and Psychological Services. The MU-Annex plan, part of Oregon State's master plan, has been approved by the Oregon University System, OUS, School Board Committee. However, funds are lacking. Snell Hall will be torn down and rebuilt into what is known as the MU-Annex, a high-rise building complete with improved technology and sound architecture. This demolishment and expansion will be based on student funding, which will come from a ratification of the students at OSU. Caitlin DeMars, co-chair of the MU-Annex Committee, explains.
So currently the process to take things to referendum, to get them on the ballot, is you have to get 1,000 signatures, so you have to go campaign, stand out in the quad, go to organizations, have 1,000 people sign that, yes, they want this on the ballot, and then you can get on the ballot. And that's an example of last spring, the green energy fee. That's how they were able to get on the ballot, and then the students voted and passed it.
Snell's demolishment is primarily due to its unsafe building structure that is no longer up to Oregon building codes, along with the irreparable facilities. We spoke with Michael Henthorn, MU Director and co-chair of the MU-Annex Committee, about the ongoing project.
We have a really strong history of salvaging and repairing older buildings, but some of them that were built in what is known as sort of the cheapest period of rapid expansion right after World War II were built with the integrity of the Memorial Union or Benton Hall or the values that were in place in architecture much earlier on. They were pressured by the number of GIs coming out of World War II and the need to provide housing. And so they were rapid construction, cheaply done, and they won't even last 50 years.
Henthorn states that one of the defining features of Snell's construction is a window wall system, whereby the outer walls of the building are attached as single large pieces and bolted into place. He elaborates.
The window wall system is the major construction feature of this building that is not holding up. It has been leaking water for almost 20 years. The wall panels have all filled with water, and the interior walls and the metal escutcheons holding the window wall system in place are all rusting and rotting. But I know that those blue teal window and wall panels are not structural. They are simply bolted into place and they leak terribly. These were simply ill-conceived.
Built as a women's dorm in 1959, Snell was retrofitted in the 70s into what, despite deteriorating conditions, still stands today. ASOSU President Greg Purdy gives his thoughts on the state of the building.
It won't fall down as far as I know. I mean, I work here, so I'm hoping it doesn't, but it's not, I don't believe it's earthquake proof, so if there was a major earthquake, there might be some problems. Other than that, I mean, it's got water damage, water leaking problems, it's got roof problems, it can get unbearably hot during the summer and blisteringly cold in the winter. I mean, it's got serious insulation problems, but other than that, it works fine.
Crystal Gupta, English Language Institute Conversant Assistant, offers her experiences.
It's pretty stuffy. I don't know, the offices are, the rooms themselves are good size, but there's not enough of them. And I find that a lot of the teachers and instructors are mixed in with administrators, and it's really, if I were a student coming in from another country and I really didn't know my English language too well, it would be really hard to find. If you walk through, it just smells like old. I don't know, my boss, she's always got this, air ionizer going, because, I think it just makes you sick sometimes.
In addition to the uncomfortable conditions, working in Snell is increasingly becoming a safety hazard. Henthorn explains why potential natural disasters such as earthquakes are one of OSU's main concerns.
Oregon sits on a number of faults, and of course the largest is the Cascadia subduction zone, which is just off the coast. So earthquakes in the northwest definitely happen.
Henthorn explained that OSU already dealt with a similar situation when they renovated another campus building, Nash Hall, but notes that for Snell,
the system problems in the building are so substantial that repair would not make sense. It's more costly to try and repair it than it is to replace it.
Not only is it expensive, it's a very complicated process to even obtain those funds. What's more, those funds for repair and maintenance, called auxiliary funds, can't be used for what is referred to as capital construction. Allison Jennis, chair of the Student Incidental Fees Committee, explains.
So auxiliary is anything fee-funded outside of education. Yeah, so like if for instance, Snell, the CAFS area, has a water leak and they have to replace a wall, that's construction, but that's not capital construction because that's repair. Capital construction is building new buildings.
Jennis explains that capital construction is funded through student fees.
So basically we have this building fee, and that is shared among all of OUS, and we all pay into it, and it's this pot of money. And so you'll see it on your bill. It's a line item building fee. I believe it's like $80 or something like that. And then OUS, which is the overarching university system here in Oregon, public university system here in Oregon, and they divvy up that money to each university, and you get your name put on a list with your project, and this list is miles long. The list is kind of like a organ donor list. You move up as your urgency increases, but by no means is it working.
Part of the problem, according to Jennis, is that the Oregon State Building Fee Fund has already been depleted by past projects, specifically Dixon Recreation. She continues.
The problem there is that we have built Dixon, so we've used our next 10 years of building fee dollar. It should be falling to the building fee, but the building fee isn't able to fund it.
One of the issues is the fees won't be replenished rapidly enough to finance any new construction in the foreseeable future. Since the Oregon University system controls how much of the fees is allocated to the universities for their use, increasing the amount of funding that OSU receives would be a difficult task. According to Jennis, any changes to the fee allocation would require Senate approvals. On the other hand, while it would be simpler to use a student initiative to finance the Annex directly from student fees, that comes with its own complications. Once again, Jennis.
Prior to 1999, this was the most the worst thing to talk about. Nobody would even venture to, because it was illegal. You couldn't use student fees to fund capital construction.
And because this is a new process, legislation to define these terms has yet to be drafted. As Greg Purdy explained when we spoke with him, it is important to make sure that any new legislation wouldn't set a bad precedent and would serve students well down the road. Allison Jennis knows this as well.
If we hire the consulting firm, they can do it probably in 3 or 4 months. They'll work over the summer. They will do whatever we need them to do. I mean, we're paying them to do it. If we have students do it, we're under a lot more time constrictions. If we wait for the U of O's lawyers to iron out their process, and then we just copy. We don't have to spend money, and they did the hard work. So we have this process that hasn't been defined, and that we are working on trying to put a good definition on, so that our administration will approve it, so the OUS will approve it, and then so the state treasurer will approve it. So does that make sense?
While the Student Incidental Fees Committee sorts through the logistics of funding the project, Snell Hall continues to deteriorate. Henthorne again.
Last week alone we got a $20,000 surprise when the sewer system collapsed on the back side of the building, so we know that the building is in really, really bad shape. So we want out because of deterioration, not because of demolition. But we need to get out of there, we think, within 5 years.